making the Buddha's hairdo this week, maybe, but at least getting the ephemera ready. Welcome back. Thank you for bearing with me and joining me again on this collage journey with our Buddhas. And this was the ephemera I showed you last week that I was going to put in the hair of our two Buddhas. I'm just cutting at this point, as you can see, and this is where I really appreciate the medium of collage. Got this magazine, I'm sure I got it for free or for just a few cents, if that. And inside is all this wonderful imagery. I just need to find the time to sit down and cut each and every one of them out. And once I remove these little gems from the page, it's very difficult to imagine what it was before that. That's why I love using the fashion and interior design pages. When you find little beautiful swatches of color like this one right here, I don't know if I'm going to use it for this collage, but it's a doorknob. And once I remove it from the page, it ceases really to be that of a doorknob. Now it's just a wonderful element of design, pattern, and color that can be used in just about anything in regards to collage. I get so much joy from it, and it doesn't cost a lot of money. When I see beautiful images like this, I'm like, I may not buy this wonderful necklace, but wow, it can be part of something that will be very precious to me nonetheless, or to somebody else if they purchase it or I give it to them as a gift. So I am going to go ahead and continue this cutting out these little flowers and butterflies for our Buddha's hairdo. This is also a very relaxing thing for me to do, although it may not seem that way to everybody. It may seem tedious. I actually find this to be a great time of introspection for me, almost meditative, which is appropriate for our subject this week. We're going to continue with our Buddha collage. I'm still in the thinking process. I'm still in that problem-solving mode about how to approach the Buddhas when I put them on their permanent home. And this process of getting some work done that's associated with the project is very satisfying to me. Kind of that ASMR stuff that I've mentioned before. I don't know if this qualifies as ASMR, but it sure feels that way to me. So I'm going to keep cutting and you can keep watching and we will keep working on our Buddhas. Looking at some vintage paper, I believe I want to use, I am considering the lip area. I did a little bit of that off camera as well as another section underneath the nose and also the neck area. I'm also looking at those two end pieces from that National Geographic book I got from Friends of a Library sale for a couple of cents. This looks like it's going to be the background, or rather this white outline on the Buddha image will be this teal, green, blue paper. Trying to maintain something of a blue palette for this piece and feeling fairly successful, although I do want to incorporate other colors. Since this is going to be a bilateral piece, one side's going to match the other. They're going to be fairly identical. I'm fortunate enough that I have a couple of pieces of ephemera that look like each other. Also not off camera, it was time lapse. I did a lot of fun cutting, and that's going to be for the Buddha hair. I'm going to be using these little elements, lots of intricate cutting with my scissors mainly, and I really enjoy doing those. I shared last week and before I like to just sit and cut pieces of ephemera out for images, maybe not the ones that I'm going to be using for the particular piece. I just find it to be really relaxing. I also like this maybe for the lips. And the lips are going to be their own piece. They're not really going to be sectioned off on one side or the other. This is what they look like. And all of the pieces that I've cut out of here, I'm placing them off to the side because I think they might be a collage. And remember, I said in the beginning, don't worry about what happens to this white piece of paper. It's only acting as my guide. Truly, it's acting as my guide. It still is my guide, but I think I might be doing something with these extra pieces because they were cut out exact and they do have shape. So we'll see. It might be something fun that's coming up next. Maybe not this video though. So I'm going to get back to work here. I'm going to be cutting the magazine ephemera for this space right here that's going to be under the nose. And this is the ephemera I want to use, this blue magazine paper. So I can cut it one at a time. That takes too long. So what I like to do is kind of layer them so they get cut out at the same time and they look almost identical. They look nearly identical. But when I do that, I can't layer one piece on top of the other like this because I won't get the right cut. So I have to make sure the back piece, if I'm going to cut them out at the same time, has to be behind the front piece. That way I'll get the mirror image quality. It'll be, the side I want will be looking at the other side like a mirror image. You'll see in just a second. Here are the two little pieces I was talking about. This was the one that I was cutting facing me, and this was the one behind it. I want it to be the same shape, just about, so it's facing each other like a mirror image. So I don't know, it's a little hard for me to explain, but that's how I do it. Whenever I do a cut and I want it to be an identical cut and I want to do it all at once, I always make sure one piece obviously is facing me, the other piece has to be flipped over on the other side so I can get that identical mirror image piece. A word about the mouth of the Buddha. There is a little line here to indicate the upper lip from the bottom lip. I don't want to cut all the way through, and I do want that line to be seen. So I'm going to cut a little bit more, just not all the way through. I don't think I want to do that yet. So I'm just going to do barely a little cut right there, cutting both sides so they appear pretty even. And I'm not sure about that lower lip. So that's a nice little line. I may have to tackle this with my X-Acto knife. The reason being, I want to use this piece of paper. It's vintage paper, it's fragile, but I love the look of it. So I'm not going to be folding it. I want to use this as my template. Let's see what happens. I'm going to go back to time lapse now. Remember I shared this is fragile paper, so for me to use the packing tape to keep it in place, which I really want to do for this. The lips aren't a focal point, but they are an important point on the face. So here is the front of the template and here's the back. What I'm thinking of doing is, to get the best cut possible, is adhering the front of the template to the back of the vintage paper. So I should get an exact cut. I have backups that, in case this doesn't work out, because that does happen, that I destroy something that I think would be absolutely perfect. I really like these pieces. I don't know if they're going to make it into this image. All vintage paper. Ugh, curses. So they're on standby in case this is a fail. We'll see. Let's give it a try. very slow with my X-Acto knife. Again, a fairly sharp X-Acto knife. It's the same one that I used, well, last week for the video last week. I can obviously replace it. When I work with vintage magazine paper, it tends to scrunch up on me. I actually prefer using my scissors when I work with vintage paper because the cut is cleaner. This case, because it's a kind of a detailed image, I am going very, very slow with my X-Acto knife because I don't want the paper to bunch up on me, especially this area with the lips, that area in between the upper and lower lip. I got the tape here. I'm hoping that it's not going to be too destructive to the paper. Okay, now I need to switch the tape. What I'm going to do is grab another piece and tape down what I've already cut. Shouldn't be too much damage to the actual vintage paper. I'm going to start peeling it up from the template spot and go really slow. Okay, not too bad. Add a little bit more there. I'm not pressing down really hard either on the tape because I really don't want it to affect the paper. Let's go into this area between the upper and lower lip, do some cutting. Going slow. And continuing with the top. Slowly. I just wanted to show you this on video in case you were wondering how I handle vintage paper. Okay, here it is. Let's give it a look. It's still connected. I didn't cut all the way through. I like it. I think it looks good. I do want to show a little bit more between the upper and lower lip though. There may be just enough. It might be difficult to see on camera. I'm going to do just a little bit more cutting, not too much. Let's see. I'm kind of doing it slightly blindly because it's difficult to see the line with this pattern. I think this was from an old Sunset magazine from the 1960s, and they had some wonderful swatches. And you know I love swatches. Okay, so here are the lips. Here's the paper it's eventually going to rest on. Is that enough? Do we need more delineation? I'm going to take a closer look at this. I'm looking at this from above, so it's hard for me to see, and I don't know. Let me work on this a little bit more off camera. That was the finished results. I'm okay with it. I just ended up cutting through the lips, so they're separate pieces now. But that was the solution that I guess I figured out. Remember, we're problem solvers here on the channel as artists. I'm okay with it, and I got plenty of ephemera to choose from if I decide that doesn't work for me. So put these precious pieces off to the side and keep working on this collage. There wasn't really any need to just do one side and the other for the neck. The neck is one part. So I'm just going to use this area and cut that way to cut out the neck. That's all I need. Nothing terribly complicated about it. I'll just keep cutting. It really isn't complicated. I started cutting along the chin here, more of a detailed area, and I realized I don't have to do that. It's these sides that need to be perfect because this part isn't going to be seen. The chin paper will be covering this neck part, so it's actually going to give me something to work with. I think actually, no, wait, I do need to cut it out exactly. Okay, let me Let me finish cutting then. I realize, yeah, I'm just realizing now that this isn't my typical collages where I can use packing tape and tape everything on the back and it's nice and clean and no one sees it. I'm realizing I need to cut everything exact. Okay, and I messed up a little bit here. Is it salvageable? Ooh, I did mess up here. Okay, so that's a mess. I'm gonna have to abandon that piece. I'm still gonna use this particular design. I want this white part because the green background will be a nice contrast with that. So I do want to keep this white part going on. Okay, so, okay, this is good. Back with the packing tape, keep things in place, but things have to be exact. It's going to be one piece, the neck, whereas everything else I was cutting it was bilateral. So doing something a little different here with the neck, going along this chin line, strong chin line, nice cleft chin. And I'm cutting kind of at an awkward angle, as you can see. But I'm comfortable and trying to stay safe. The X-Acto blades are very sharp. Okay. And right here. Okay. Now I'm just going to pull all the way down. Just cut all the way down. And here we go. Here is our neck. Free this. I'm going to put this off to the side again for a minute, as well as this. I might use it again. There's still plenty left if I want to use it for another collage, or it may revisit pattern within this collage. And here is the neck. I have my chin. It might, I got the other one too, but I don't want to use this one, so that's going to go into the scrap pile. Go ahead and just cut it a little bit, cut it down a bit, trim it off. I got a little bit of paper hanging down here. I want to cut that, make it clean. So it's fairly clean, and it's our Buddha neck, and I want to keep him off to the side. So we still have some issues that we need to address with our Buddha. He is looking very well. I am enjoying him, working with him and talking through it. Everybody is listening to my voice and to my thinking in progress here. So the next problem that I want to tackle with my Buddha is the nose. And I was concerned about this nose. I don't think I have anything cut out yet for the nose. In fact, I'm pretty certain I don't. So I have this whole area that is the Buddha's nose. I do have this template, both of these templates. So this was the inside and this was the outside. So I have all this area that I'm going to treat like the lips and the neck, and I'm going to cut out as one piece. Question is, what do I want to use? I was playing with this. I really liked this to go between the nostrils, or the bridge of the nose rather, and that fits really well. So what do I want to use for this part? I was just using this for the neck. I'm wondering if that'll look good. Again, since we have plenty of ephemera, I can go ahead and do that. There's no harm in it, and if I don't like it, I can abandon it. So I'm wondering, do I want to use the template to do the cutout, or do I want to use this guide to cut it out? Because what I can do is I can cut a large piece here, and I can adhere the middle piece, the bridge piece, on top of it. I'm not going to do that cut where it's fold. I have to fold it over. I don't want to do that because I don't want to have any folds in the final image. Folds are great, but I don't really want to deal with them in this piece. So I'm going to situate, okay, and I also have to consider this area up here. Okay. Maybe I'll do some thinking off camera, and when I come back, I should have something to share. But you know what? I'm actually liking the way this looks, so I'm going to go speed things up and cut this out. A tad frustrating. There's a little nick here on one side of the nostril that bugs me, and a nick up here that bugs me. This is where my perfectionism comes into play, and but I do love the color, and I love the way the nose turned out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to situate everything that I have and see how I like it, and if this nose is still going to work for me. But before I do that, I think I'm going to go ahead and cut out that bridge part I was telling you about with my blue ocean piece that I can't find. So let me get back to finding that. I'm not going to put the other side together. Oh, do I want to? It's obviously quite a bit of work. I'm pleased with the colors because the colors on this side are identical to this, so I'm pleased. I think it's going to be okay. We're just going to go with it. We'll just figure it out as we go along. That's the fun part about collage, right? That's what I'm going to do. Remember this guy last week? It's not blue. It's playing with a blue theme, but I really love the look of it. Don't know if I'm going to use it though. So I'm okay with the way things are going. Like I said, a little bummed about that nose. These aren't really crazy cuts. I could, I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it. In many cases, I do, in all cases, actually, I scan everything now. And the reason I scan it is because I like to maybe manipulate it a little bit in Photoshop. So I'm not going to so much manipulate it, but this little cut here that I don't like, I mean, it won't be as noticeable when I put it through the scanner and maybe run it through Photoshop, if it shows up at all. Everyone who's watching the video thus far now knows about it, and maybe they'll be thinking about, oh, this cut here. It's just my little perfectionism thing going on. So I don't like perfectionism because I don't get a lot done when I behave that way. So just going to keep working, and I think it's going to be okay. I need to share what I'm doing because I've been off camera for hours now planning what my next move is going to be. I ran into a little problem, actually a fairly big problem. I want collage on these delicate edges here, and the seemingly easy solution was to place this teal blue paper down and just glue everything on, and then I was done. I don't know if I like the way that's going to look. Then I thought, well, I could put it onto the same large piece of paper, the size that I cut this template out of, and I might have to resort to that, but I don't really want to. I feel like that's the easy way out. So I'm not sure if what I'm thinking is going to be anything easier, and still I have to work on this hair with all of these little intricate pieces, hole punch pieces that I got myself into something of a mess here, literally. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. That's why I've been doing a lot of thinking off camera, and a few hours ago I thought I came up with a direct solution. I don't know if I like the way that solution is going, which is using the same white piece of paper. I just don't want to do that. I've worked too hard on this, so I'm still thinking and I'm still trying to figure it out. Let's see where my thinking takes me. I think I came up with a solution. Remember, initially, this Buddha was to be something of an optical illusion. Half the face is half a face on its own to expose the entire face. So my thinking is I'm still going to use this green paper as a background and work on each side at the same time and then put it onto another picture plane. I think that's what I'm going to do. I hope that works. I'm not sure if it will. So if it doesn't, I'll still post it. We'll see what happens. So I think I'll proceed from there with the original concept, which was an optical illusion. Let's see if I can keep it up. I also really like this pattern background. Got it from a fashion magazine, cut out the model, she'll appear in another video. I like it as the outline. How am I going to do this? I'm still thinking about it, only because I'm taking so much time because I've just worked, I put in a lot of time already. So this is special and I want it to look special. So I think I have enough to accomplish that. I'm not sure. I think that's what I need to do is adhere the pieces that I've cut already onto this pattern and work from there so I can get this outline. So everything that you see here that is white, I want that white to be this design. So there won't be huge swatches of this design. It'll only be visible as the line on the face to delineate the different pieces, the different sections of the face. That's a lot of cutting and it might be a little tedious, but don't worry, I will time lapse it and we'll see what happens. But I think that's what I need to do. The problem is I want the white line to connect everything, to be connected. I don't really want to cut it, although there's going to be places here that are really delicate and they might break, but I should be able to put them back together. It's just paper after all. That's the other thing too. The reason I really love collage is because the materials are easy for me to come by. They're not costly. And if I make a mistake, it's not a big deal. For whatever reason, when I was in art school and I was taking watercolor classes, acrylic classes, ceramics classes, I felt so bad about wasting the material on my errors. And no artist should feel that way, especially when you're learning. You're going to make mistakes. It's just bound to happen. With collage, I feel more relaxed, and as a result, I feel more successful. And that's why I prefer it as a medium. So it's just paper after all. Let's start cutting, and that's going to call for a brand new X-Acto blade. I think we found a solution. These areas on the nose are definitely going to be covered up by the nose. So I don't need to worry too much about the line. And since there's a pattern, even if it does show, it'll be a lot more interesting than just a plain line like this would create. So I'm going to set these off to the side. I don't think I'm going to be using them in this collage. I'm not going to say never because we know what happens with that. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to adhere this template to, I thought I was going to use maybe spray adhesive and glue it on. I don't think I want to do that either. I'm just going to stay with the glue. I got a nice fresh blade ready, just waiting to go. I think I'm just going to tape it down and just start cutting. I'm waiting too long also. I find if I wait too long during a project, it becomes a forever work in progress. It never gets finished. And remember, we still have the hair to do. So I need to get going. You know, it's Sunday and actually, no, it's Monday. We have a holiday here. And I need to get going because I'm not going to be back at my studio. I have to go to my job during the week. So I need to do something. I need to at least get a good chunk of this done so I can return to it, feel good about it, and enjoy myself. And believe it or not, even for all of my angst I'm sharing with you here, I love this process because it's all about the problem and the solution is the final piece. How are we doing? It's going very slowly. I apologize if you can't see too much down below here, but I did cut the neck area. And I also applied a piece of clear packing tape to the nose area here because that's going to get covered up. I think I'll do the same for this small area on the lips because those two will get covered up. Again, all I want is the outline to have this design. And the design is cut in half. The pattern design is two different scraps of paper, really. Let's just put this bit of tape here just to keep things in place. I have to go so slow with this because it's secured to, see, it moved a little bit. It's fairly secured to the mat here, but not really. I was able to move it and it's supposed to stay in place. If it moves around a little bit, I'm not going to worry about it anymore. I want to get this done, but not so much that I want to rush through it or toss it to the side or make it a forever work in progress. I will hang on to these little bits and pieces. And the reason being is if I run into gaps, I might run into gaps. I may not have enough to cover everything. In fact, I know I won't, but I'll have these to fill in the gaps and it may not look too bad, especially since it's such a wonderful intricate pattern. I can almost connect them back together as though they looked like they were meant to be that way. That's the cool thing about collage. This type of collage is a little more intricate than some other collages that people do. Nonetheless, they're really amazing, making these absurd, surreal landscapes look like they were always meant to be that way. So anyway, off on that tangent, I'm going to get back to this now. Not by any means done, but I wanted to show you where I am at. A couple little messy edges, which are easy enough to clean. This is going to turn into actually the two collages, the two different sides. So what I might try to do right now is start attaching. I don't know if that's the safest thing to do, but I'm going to start attaching pieces of ephemera that I've already cut. And this was the neck, if you recall. If you can see, I know it's down there. It's kind of hard to see. Sorry, guys. Let's see. I will. And I think I'm going to use packing tape as much as I can. It'll be a lot cleaner. Noticing these two edges on the neck are not the same. Let me just, you guys can probably see the chins way better. So let me grab my chin pieces and go ahead and attach them. Okay, so there's a little bit of an edge here that wasn't cut properly. I'll just go ahead and, do I want to keep it? It looks like I should keep it, although it's really messy, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and remove it gently. Will it affect the other side? there is definitely, it looks different. Slip this piece. Okay, not only does it look different, we have a gap with my original ephemera. Yep, there's a gap. There's a gap. And then there is this piece which fits way easier. The reason I did this intricate cutting is there just wasn't enough of this paper to go around. So because I saved our pieces here, I technically can come back in here and do something like that just to fill it up because I have enough. So I can do that for the sake of cleanliness. That's why I cut those edges. And yeah, that's rough. Okay. And see, there's one here too. So it wasn't a perfect cut. I probably went about this the longer way, the more difficult way, and that's fine. The reason I did it again, I don't have enough of the paper, the pattern image that I want to use for those outlines on the Buddha face. That's why I did things the way they did. So there's a downside to doing things this way, obviously. Don't try this at home. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead, definitely try it at home. And if you figure out a better way of doing it, I would love to know in the comment section. Please let me know. So technically what I can do now is I'm going to go ahead and attach these pieces, and I will work out the problems in a little bit. Not this very second. I think I want it underneath. Okay. Yeah, there's definitely a big gap here. Darn it. Okay. I will figure it out. I will fix it. I will definitely fix it. This will happen. This intricate Buddha face will occur. Okay. I think I already see a solution. So what I might do is I'll tuck everything in here, bring it more to the center so we have another space, which will allow for another piece of ephemera to go here, which will be somewhat equal, not identical, but it will work. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Explaining a little method to my madness here. I thought I had everything on time lapse and I did not. So I'm going to use this piece of turquoise taken from an advertisement for jewelry. And I'm going to fill in my little gaps here. I like the way it looks. It looks pretty strong. And I'm also using this opportunity to clean up some edges that I'm noticing. Maybe they wouldn't be seen on the final piece, but I know they're there and I like to keep things as clean as possible, and this is the time to do it. So here's my piece. I also like how there's a shadow, and I want to use that to my advantage to indicate shadow maybe. I have the littlest gap right here too that I want to take care of. Do I have enough of this? I cut it in half because I want to use it to correspond on the other side. I should have enough. Oh yeah, there's enough. Using packing tape right now because packing tape is going to be a lot cleaner and a lot easier to manage on these delicate edges. You can use Mod Podge. Anybody, you can use whatever you'd like. I myself, for something like this, definitely going to adhere to my packing tape. So let's go ahead and gently flip it over. Things are really delicate now. It's not like one of the other collages that I do. I can be a little more rough, and I want to be rough because I want to finish. See, there's the tiniest gap here. Not a huge deal. I actually still have some left over of the original chin color pieces, and I can just put something here. And we're actually building up some tensile strength now because we're adding more pieces to it, and those delicate black and white edges are getting support. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that here. I slowly am building up that strength. very slowly. I don't want to say a tedious process because that would indicate that I'm not having a good time. I really love doing this kind of project. I've been playing with it for a couple of days now. I started on Friday, and again, like I said, we had a long weekend. So I am slowly building up, kind of get an attachment with a project, and sometimes you don't even want to see it end. Do I want to see this one end? Well, I want to see it end only because I want to see what it's going to look like. And I hope you guys are hanging out long enough to see what it looks like too with me. In any case, it will be posted at the end or not. It may also be a case of forget it. It's going into the trash and I'm going to start all over again. Nonetheless, I like showing the process, and I always appreciate when other people on YouTube show their frustrations. Then I don't feel so, it's like, I'm not the only one. There's a wonderful wood turning channel I watch, Oliver Gromis. He's in France, and he's an amazing wood artist. The last video he posted was a table that he was working on. And what he does with wood is amazing. Twisting it, turning it. If you get a chance and you like wood turning, check out his videos. I'll put a link to his channel in my description. But he got frustrated, and I thought, wow. And he worked through the process and he finished it. And I was like, that was inspiring to me. It's like that guy who's an amazing artist gets just as frustrated as I do. I just keep mine off camera, but there's no shame in showing your frustration once in a while because we are human after all. And nothing is perfect. Like this collage is not going to be perfect. And I'm going to do the turquoise on this side too. See, we have a slice all ready to go. I'm just going to remove the edge because I don't want the edge in my collage. So just to ensure it's not there, I just trim it off. And that's kind of nice, a nice little silver rope, so I might use it for something else. So let's speed things up, and I'm going to get back to cutting and pasting. Remember in the last video, I took painstaking care to make these lips, and now they may not exactly fit on this new picture plane. In fact, I'm not even sure if I care for this pattern now. It's okay, but because we got a lot going on with the lines, these lips may not work anymore. So that actually makes my job a little bit easier because I took such care to cut out such careful lips. They won't fit in here, and I have a new place I can put them. It's just a little bit of do I need to make a cut here? Just a little bit. Okay, not really. But now I can use a different color, and this has turned into one of my regular sort of magazine projects where I can play with different ephemera and see what works and what doesn't. Have a little bit more strength here because he has a neck now, and I can use that neck. And here's that paper I really liked. This came from a vintage magazine. This blue, strange little design. Little too dark. I may need something that's really going to pop because, you know what? Confession, I hate when they say pop of color. I say it sometimes, but it really annoys me. I don't know why, like pop of color. But I do want something that makes the lips stand out because the lips are so awesome on the Buddha. So I think I want something not too patterned, maybe something like this. Yes, and what's cool about this one, it has a line indicating the upper and lower lip a little bit. I think I want to go with this. me, actually, as I continue with the work that I'm frustrated with. I'm not frustrated with this, but this is how the solutions do come to me. As I'm working, and I had, again, intricate little pieces that we cut in the last video, and they're not fitting quite with this new lining going on. Can't really see too well here, but there's a gap between the carefully cut pieces, between the line that we created and the piece that we cut last week. It's not exact, it's not flush. And I realized, what do? It's okay. I can just adhere another colorful piece behind it and it'll work. Or I could maybe adhere a color that's completely different, say this orange. How does that look if I, actually that's kind of cool, isn't it? So it doesn't have to be another intricately cut piece. I can just cut something else and adhere it to the background. And I have plenty of this random, seriously random. I did not choose this magazine paper, but it was here. Orange and blue are complementary colors. One of my favorite sets of complementary colors. So I'm just going to use this, and I don't need a lot of it. I also have this gap here. Well, it's not a gap, it's a space, and I can put something else there. Do I want to use the same ephemera, that same paisley? Because I got the paisley going on here. Do I want this same paisley? I don't think I do. No. I will use maybe some of this ocean, something light. Then I can just do all of my pasting or my taping at once on the back. So I can play with it for just a second, see how it looks. Yeah, I like that. I do like that. I like the shine from the ocean on this photograph. It kind of gives something of a light source. And I don't have to be exact like I was before. I think I just used a lot of time up in the last video doing that, and now. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my packing tape. I'm just going to put this down before I put down this orange. It just will make it easier because I want this part to have the blue, and I can see where my gaps are. So let's see, I'm sure I'm going to have enough. I'll have enough. I'm just going to need to do a little bit more cutting to make sure. Yeah, it'll be fine. Let's see, like this. We'll do that. And then I used a lot of that, shoot, because I need it for this side too. Yeah, I'll have enough. And again, if I see, well, I wanted that orange along the rim of the nostrils, underneath the nostrils, to show that glow. Because I think there's going to be a couple more gaps like on below that particular paisley blue piece. But like I said, I can come in with something else. I think it's right here. I don't know if we're going to have a problem. No, it's not a problem because I have plenty, again, I have plenty of ephemera and I can use it to cover it up. Let's see if I even need to before I start getting crazy. Okay, I do like that. Oh yeah, I like that orange. And I think we're okay. I think there's enough. I think we're okay. It's good. I'm actually really liking the way this is coming out. Now remember, for these cheeks, I didn't take this piece out. This was already cut, ready to go. These cheeks, I went, again, great lengths to cut. Oh, I broke my blade. I went to great lengths to cut these pieces. And it's twin. And are they going to fit exactly? Oh, look, we don't want that. I like it, but, well, yeah, I don't want it. I'm going to remove it right now. A little bit of overlapping. It's easy enough to remove. So back to these cheeks. We went to great lengths to cut them. Just so. And will there be space? Yes, there will be space. But I'm okay with the way it looks. Again, I've got plenty actually of the same ephemera hanging around still. Might come to my rescue or not. Maybe we'll do that orange thing again. I'm going to go ahead and adhere them on. Just flip this over. And I'm going to have space. I see just a tiny bit of tape overlapping here. It's clear tape. It's not a big deal. I don't know why. I'm just going to cut it off. It just to do it. Let's get rid of it. I really try to keep it as clean as possible. Okay, so I'm already seeing on this one. Yeah. Let's see. Oh wait, I think I have them on the wrong side. That happens. No, I had them on the right side. Okay. See, this is how, this one almost fits pretty well actually. It wasn't too bad. I did a pretty good job with this one. There are little gaps right there. So I will fill them in by keeping this underneath. Okay. Because there's a lot of detail in these cutouts, I might just go for a very simple dark background if I need to fill in gaps. I like the way it looks, so I'm just going to go ahead and proceed and cut this one down. But yeah, they both have gaps. They're both going to have gaps. It just is. Not a big deal. I'll do one at a time. Well, I'll do them both at the same time. For the sake of time. Oh, there's that tape again. And this is just me. It's just, I'm like, get rid of that. You don't need it. I just don't want it showing up on the piece. Yeah, this one definitely had, it wasn't as exact. So I think I'm going to go with this, but there's going to be a big gap right here. I'm not sure why that happened. Okay, I'll fix it. Off camera, I attached the ears and my view of it, your view of it, he's not exactly symmetrical. He's on his way. He's not the bilateral Buddha that I wanted him to be, but he's working. I'm going to stay with it. I'm going to keep with it. Didn't get those exact halves as I thought I was when I started the project. Nonetheless, we're going to finish it and I'll scan it and fix it and maybe revisit this project again in another form in another couple of videos, which means in another couple of months. I don't know. We'll see. I'm starting the new year out with this Buddha. Maybe we'll end the year with another type of Buddha, similar process. Nonetheless, I'm going to finish it, going to see it through to fruition. This will not be a forever work in progress. Originally, when I saved this orange piece of paper, which is coming to my rescue in a big way in this collage, I saved it only for the color coding. It's the only reason I saved it, not because of the orange. I'm not going to use the color coding, at least I don't think I am in this particular video, but I did have it set off to the side in a nice plastic sleeve, and it was the orange that I ended up using that caught my attention and came to my rescue. I'm not sure why I had this little baggie out. I think I may have had some other ephemera I am using in this collage in this baggie, and I just kept it out. And as you saw my messy desk in our last video, I had it hanging around and it is serving me well now. So there's this nose. That nose that was kind of giving me a little bit of a problem last week. Well, here it is. I'm getting ready to adhere it. And of course, it's not an exact fit because of what I did. So that's where I'm going to try to fill in gaps with this orange. And it's easier with these larger pieces, not so much the skinny piece, to do that. So just go ahead and tape it down. And obviously, as I've been taping paper on the back, this has gotten a lot stronger, so it's easy for me to work with than before, that delicate line work, almost like lace. But this is much, much easier for me to work with now, so I'm going to keep working here. So we finally made it to the eyes. What I did off camera was I tried to, as successfully as possible, line up this pattern with loose pieces so I could make it like a continuous page. And I think it's going to be okay. The more I look at it, the more I think about it, my perfectionist kicks in and says, no, it's wrong, rip it up, start all over again. Not doing that today. Gonna keep working at it. And let's finish up with the eyes. Here are these hearts that I decided to replace my original structure. And I'm gonna place them sort of even. I'm gonna stand up here, see what you guys see. And not sure if this is something you can notice looking at the camera. I can't notice it looking at the camera, but when I'm sitting down, this section pops up, this little bit of paper, and I don't know why it did. And I'm not going to glue it down because that'll just make it kind of scrunchy and messy, and I don't want to do that just yet. It didn't tape down evenly. So something else I need to think of the next time I tackle a project like this. So many things that I want to think about next time. And that's also part of the problem solving. Maybe it didn't come out as perfect as I wanted it, but I am enjoying the process and I am enjoying how it is coming out so far. I was that kid in elementary and art school as an adult that could not draw a straight line, even with a ruler. So here I am trying to use something that's not going to help me anyway because it's operator error in this case. Me and the ruler, we're friends, we're acquainted, but we don't get along very well. But I'd like to get these eyes as even as possible before I apply our good old Mod Podge glue. Not a lot, just a little bit. No room for our packing tape with these eyes, unless I cut a hole out. I don't really feel like doing that right now. This has been an interesting project for me. So as always, just a little bit of glue. Actually, in this case, it looks like quite a bit. And some waxing paper kind of off to the side here, dabbing on like a palette. I want to keep these hearts where they are. Then I'm going to apply the glue where I want it. It looks like I got a little messy here with where I put it. And I can clean that up with the wax paper. The wax paper will pick up the adhesive, but it won't stick to your ephemera, therefore no tears. All right, a little bit more. It's tempting to put on a lot. Don't do it. Don't give in to that animalistic urge of using a lot of adhesive because it just causes problems. And as it is, even with a small amount of adhesive, I still experience wrinkles. I know there are ways around it, and if you are one of those collage artists that know, let me know. Drop it in the comments and say, Laura, this is how you can do it next time. Okay, liking the way that looks. This was our little messy. It wasn't too messy, not too bad. Put that off to the side, and we're going to continue working on our Buddha's eyes. I have the pieces set off over here to the side, and they are ready to go. As you know from last week, we were cutting and we had everything ready. Actually, for you guys, last week was last week. These videos were made fairly close together, one right after the other, within the days that I made them. But nonetheless, for you guys, it was last week. So let's go ahead and figure these eyes out. Might need that ruler again in a minute. And not only the eyes, I had these tops going on, and I had those eyebrows also. Maybe I'll just use this. So I was going to use these eyebrows. Not sure if I want to now. Or maybe I will. Because guess what we have left after this? We have that hair. That Buddha hair. That could be a video in and of itself. Do you guys want to see another video, part 3 of this? Because I'm running out of daylight and time this Sunday, I think I am going to stop it here. And the next time we convene on our Buddha here, there's going to be a lot more to look at. Well, there's a lot to look at here. Thank you for bearing with me this week on this interesting journey. I learned a lot. I hope you did too. And I will see you again really soon.